Alright, what's going on guys? Welcome back to the channel for another video. In the last one you guys saw me put the second wastegate on, make an absolutely sexual screamer. So now we've got double the gates for twice the scream. And in this video we're going to be finished buttoning up the engine bay, putting it all back together, fixing up some wiring on the inside, and then should be able to give her the first start with the new head and the massive cams. Have a listen to those 272s, 268s. Should sound insane. So we're going to start buttoning everything up, putting everything back together, and hopefully we'll be able to start it very soon. Before we get too far into the video, it'll be sick if you guys can take some time, smack that like button down below. Subscribe if you're not already. Helps the videos reach a wider audience, and that would be mad. So do that and we'll get right into it. Quick little cable tie hack for the braided lines. Put one cable tie around both the lines, another cable in between them, cable tie in between them on the other cable tie. Tighten them up. Yeah mate. Bang. Beautiful. Alright, starting to get the engine bay back together. Starting to look like a car again. A few more goodies. I decided over here, instead of having a bit of silicone, I'm going to painfully do some pie cuts and bend that around there. A while ago I put this one in. It's a little bit ghetto, but I'll do a similar thing on this side. Ben's got some bloody leftover 3-inch aluminium over there, so I'll use some of that and try bend it around here. It's going to be pretty tight, but we'll have a crack. Oof. Oof. And the intercooler pipe is complete. That took way too long, but came out really good. Pretty stoked with it. Couple of beads. Looks sick. Get it in the car. Alright. The SR is looking back together. She is pretty much complete. All the piping, all that. Can't really remember what I last filmed. Got our mad intercooler pipe all fitted up. With our sexual pie cuts, a bit better than that silicone bend. Won't be expanding and whatnot. Got big 4-inch intake on there. Yeah, everything's coming together. Got this headlight back on. Still got to put oil in it. That's why the oil cap is sitting like that. Got to put an oil filter on it down there, and then I'm gonna have to crank it, get some oil pressure and whatnot. But we are getting close to firing this thing up and then hearing it with those 272 cams. I think I've spoken about it either in this video or a previous video that I actually fried my Apexi Pair FC ECU at the last event when I was trying to crank it up, putting the engine back together after setting a valve into a piston. But yeah, so we've got the rebuilt head on there, if you weren't aware. Yeah, I sent my ECU off the WA to our FC Hucko or whatever it is. He repaired it, and it should be back here. Should be receiving it tomorrow. Dyno's booked in for not the following day, but the day after that. So I'm waiting on that, and while I'm at it, I'm going to try to prevent the ECU from frying again. It also fried my GFB electronic boost controller, so I replaced that, and a wideband, and I got another one of them coming. So it was pretty annoying, but gone and got myself some cable. So with this, I'm going to be sending the grounds for the ECU and gauges and electronics straight to the battery, not grounding it on the body of the car anymore, just to make sure none of that starter motor current is going to be backfeeding through the electronics on its ground path back to the battery. So got some cable, some crimps, some nice sleeving. So going to be doing that. Picked up a timing gun as well, which is sick. So yeah, as you can see, I've got the inside of the car apart, dash apart, wires cut. So I got some fun putting this back together because I spent a whole day troubleshooting this, trying to work out why the ECU wasn't coming on. It turns out it was just fried, so that's awesome. I got that ground ran. There it is there. That big bit of heat shrink is just a bolt joining those grounds onto this ground cable, which runs, I've got some nice braid sleeving on it, runs along down there and then into the battery in the boot. Now I'm going to get me new, sort out my gauges. So I got this new innovated programmable oil pressure and temperature, so I can set the low oil pressure warning to not beep at me like the other one, like this piece of shit. So that's going in the bin. And I'm still waiting on my new AEM wideband gauge that I fried to replace the one I fried, so I'll get the wiring ready for that anyway. Waiting on that, but yeah, start getting all the gauges ready, neaten up all the wiring. ECU should rock up today, and I'll get everything neatened up, ready to put the ECU back in, dash back in, fill this thing with oil, coolant, oil filter. I'm going to leave this unplugged, crank it, get oil pressure everywhere, plug that in, and then bang, she should come alive. Hopefully the tune that's on the ECU will be enough to start it with the new cams and whatnot. Hopefully, it should. Maybe. Hopefully, yeah. Alright, we're back. We've got fluids. I'm just going to be using some cheap oil for now just to flush the engine out with some engine flush, get rid of all the assembly lube and whatnot before I put some good oil in there. Just cheap oil filter, some coolant. I got my ECU back in there, flick the ignition on, it primes, everything's working as it should. I'm going to wait before I put the dash back in and whatnot, just to make sure everything's working. I got my old shitty laptop out, got me adapter, so I'm going to go ahead and plug this into the gauge and try to set the warnings for the oil pressure and temperature, and then put the oil in, filter, coolant, maybe the filter before the oil, that would be good. Oh, damn it. Shit poor. Shit poor. I'm going to go ahead and crank the motor. Hopefully the gauge just works without being programmed, and I can see that I've got oil pressure, connect the crank angle sensor, and see if we can fire this thing up. So let's do it. Mind the mess right now, it's a bit nerve-wracking. It's cranking. It doesn't sound like... It almost sounds like the timing's out. Alright, update time. Car. My patience has been tested. I've just spent over 20 hours. This rocker cover has been off over 5 times. I've had those cams off that timing chain over 5 times. We had issues. I don't know if you could tell from that first attempted start that the compression wasn't all that crash hot. Something was going on, and I've just been messing with cam timing, ignition timing, checking everything all last night, all today, all yesterday, and finally found the issue when the cam lobe was pointing to the sky. So the valve should be completely shut. The back of the cam was still having pressure on the rocker arm and keeping the valves open, causing in all sorts of dramas. Don't ask me why it's like that. Part of the issue may have been because I bled the lifters full of oil. Exclaimer, don't do that. Bleed the oil out of them apparently. Whatever. I haven't had issues until now. But yeah, so I bled all the oil out of the lifters. I spoke to the machine shop because I was thinking when they machined my valve seats, they've machined it too far, the valve's sitting too high, whatever. Anyway, bled all the lifters out, all the oil out of the lifters, and still issues. I could blow air into the cylinder with the cam not engaged, and but bolted down but not engaged, so the valve should be shut and it starts spinning the turbo. So yeah, alright, compression test, only had compression on cylinders 1 and 4, so yeah, that was the issue. Anyway, tried everything, couldn't work it out. Took the shims and lifters and stuff into the machine shop, and they ended up just putting my little shims that sit on the valves in the shim grinder, ground like 40 thou off, so 1 mil off them for the exhaust side. Intake side's fine. So they ground 1 mil off the shims on the exhaust side, whacked it back together, had good compression in all cylinders, put it back together, fired her up, and she's alive. Put my new timing gun on it, got it somewhat. I'll get the guy on the tuner on the dyno tomorrow to make sure she's Mickey Mouse, but yeah, it's alive. Obviously needs a tune, but I'll start her up, give you guys a listen to these 268, 272 cams, 11.5 and 12 mil lift, and then I'll throw it on the trailer for dyno time tomorrow. So it's been very stressful, but we got there. It took a very long time. Dash is back in. I'll fire her up. Alive. Woo. Not bad. It was already lumpy. It is already warm, by the way. Makes cool SR sounds. Yeah, makes some sick brat noises, as it always did anyway. Straight piped, big turbo, big cam SRs. Look at that turbo spooling down. Shout out hyper gear. Anyway, get this car on the trailer, tie it down, and go hit the dyno. Alright, car is loaded up on the trailer. It's the next day. I'm about to leave for the dyno. I'm going to wrap this video up here. The dyno is going to be a separate video, the next one to come out. Thanks for watching, hope you guys enjoyed it. Smack the like button if you did. If you made it this far and you haven't already hit it, you might as well just hit it. Subscribe if you're not already, and stay tuned for the dyno video because we're heading off to the dyno right now.